This is Charter Local Edition. I'm Brad Pomerance in the Inland Empire. Today we're joined by Joe Brady. He was recently reelected to the Victor Valley Community College District. Congratulations.
Well, thank
Came
you
in
very much.
first.
Yeah.
That was great. Big victory. I want to speak with you about your facial hair.
Oh,
Never seen you with a beard.
never really had a beard.
You never really had a beard,
No.
but you can grow a beard.
Yeah.
But there's a reason you have a beard. We've just finished the month of November, and we know November to be Movember
Correct.
in honor of Men's Health Month. Talk to us about the last few months of your life.
Had prostate cancer diagnosed a year ago. Went through the I feel bad for me stage,
Right.
and I'm in denial stage. Had 28 friends that had gone through it. One of them, John Armstrong, as well as many others, really forced me to do a lot of reading. So by the time I read, went through the surgery at the end of October at Cedars-Sinai, they did a great job. They told me I couldn't drive for a week, so I thought, well, I just want to shave. By the time I made my first professional appearance, somebody said, "Do you know what Movember is?" And I didn't have a clue what
Right.
Movember was. So they told me it was, about testicular cancer and prostate cancer. So I thought, well, I'll do it through the end of November, and then I thought, well, I'll do it through the end of December,
Right.
and I thought, well, it'll
Let's see how it
probably
goes.
it'll be real
Right.
soon. I would take it off, but it's been interesting.
But I do want to talk about men's health, because the reality is, there's a lot of focus on breast cancer. We have, Run Walk for breast cancer, purple ribbons. But look, let's face it, we don't talk about men's health.
No.
It's not a subject we're comfortable discussing.
Men are not comfortable about it. I will tell you this, and I will be forever grateful to the 28 friends that I knew that had this, that came to me and told me different things. But I think that John Armstrong, forcing me to do some reading, said this: 90% of all men will have a prostate problem. Period. End of subject, guaranteed. And I've read probably 1,300 pages. 1 out of 5 will have prostate cancer. I never felt it. I felt great. I worked out every single day. I worked 90 hours a week. I'm very actively involved, sat on 5 boards, blah, blah, blah. So it's something that men, differently than women, don't usually talk about. Very recently, Deb and I had to pay a visit to the City of Hope because there was a concern on her side. Now we have decided that every 6 months for the rest of her life, and hopefully, but it was scary. So we were going through mine, then we went through hers, and when you go through that and you can get in front of it, you get in front of it. So
Especially with prostate cancer and breast cancer. You get in front of it, you live your life.
I will tell you this. I was brought up on meat and potatoes. I mean, the more meat we ate, the stronger we were supposed to be and drink milk. You kind of watch your dairy. Don't eat a ton of meat. I still like a really good steak. Watch your fat. So when I went through the biopsy originally at Tower Urology out in West LA, they said to me, this is caused by the Western man's diet. And I said, well, what's that all about? And they said, too much meat and too much fat. So now I understand. I'm really careful now about having that steak. Every once in a while, I want to have a great hamburger,
Which is fine.
But it's the excess, and you also need to be sure you're exercising every day. But you also need to watch your PSA. It was
That's the
something that
prostate
mine was found totally by accident. Mine was
Really?
found by accident.
What happened? You took a test?
I was having a little heart check. Deb and I have done our colonoscopies together.
Sure.
We've done our treadmill test together. And while I thought I might have smoked her on the treadmill test, doctor found something. And he said, I'm not overly concerned, but I want to go in and do an angiogram.
Right.
So he did the angiogram. And while we were doing these blood tests over a period of time, I've always suffered from high cholesterol. There was a noticeable movement over a course of time with my PSA. Not enough to kind of worry about, but now if I knew what I did then, I would have gotten way on it earlier.
But you did get on it early.
As soon, when he called me, when Dr. Josephson called me, a renowned guy was at City of Hope. He said to me on the phone, I was actually at the country club having lunch with one of our associates. He said, Joe, you're 60 years old. I would do this now, you're going to lead a normal life. If you're 80 years old, there'd be a better chance you get hit by a truck.
Right.
So I just tell men to really...
But let's talk more about men, because, again, we don't talk about it. We just don't.
Men are not comfortable talking about about anything that doesn't make them think that they're,
Virile.
yeah, and I think that so when I found out about Movember, it's easy. You go to Google and put in Movember, and boom. I mean, they have a corporate office down in Culver City. They're based out of Australia. They have a very healthy financial statement. I'm going to get involved with it next year. Within 4 days, I was standing on the patio of my house dictating my story. So my story will be shared with anybody that wants to know about it, because...
And the other reason why men get spooked is because when you talk about the prostate, you talk about function.
Absolutely.
And both urinary function and, let's call it, male function.
You can call it sexual function.
Sexual function. Yeah. And I think that's part of the reason why men don't want to talk about it. But they need to.
I will tell you this.
We need to.
There's 7.3 billion people in this world, so we all got here somewhere. Dr. Jake Josephson was very clear. Deb walked through every path with me on this. I remember sitting down in Sedona in February of 2016, and I had been 1,200 pages, and I was done. And I emailed him, and I said, I want to come in and meet with you.
And we've been through this journey together.
Yeah.
I mean, we become friendly through this program. And I got to say, I'm just going to, stick it to you a bit. You didn't want to jump into the surgery.
No, so
You didn't.
I remember emailing him, and I said, I want to come down to LA. Now imagine, you say to your doctor, I want to come into LA, and I want to have lunch with you at La Cadena restaurant there on West 3rd Street, and have you talk to me face to face about this. So he did. And we sat down, and he explained not only the birds and the bees, but he explained how his technique, blah, blah, blah. So I remember
maximizes function.
Yeah. So I remember we got in the car, and I felt a whole lot better. Was I scared going in that surgery room that day? Yeah. Yeah. I didn't like hospitals. I was involved in a bad wreck. The staff, his staff, everybody that walked me through it. So now my responsibility as a part of, I think, not only being a man, but having gone through this, is now to help. I've got 3 other men right now that I'm dealing with that have been referred to me, and I've walked them through so that they can talk and say, Joe,
And the good news is, I mean, I don't mean to get too personal, but function's returning.
Absolutely.
And it's better to be alive.
I will tell you
in
this.
The end,
this will bring your relationship with your spouse a lot closer, because you have to talk about things that you might be uncomfortable about. When I was having those second guesses, I called my friend John Armstrong, and I remember sitting on one of my favorite chairs on a Sunday night when he said to me, "You are going to go to Amazon and you're going to order this book tonight before you have dinner." Yeah, okay, great. So what I did? I said, Deb, hold that dinner. I'm going to go in there. So you know how you go to Amazon, you pick one book, and they say, well, if you want that one, there's 2 others.
You bought 2 others, right?
Yeah. So
how are you on the other side?
Great. I mean, life is good. John Pinkerton. John's very staunch. John just left as our current board president, was reelected. As John says, he's a kind of a left-wing, socialistic, democratic. He calls himself a union thug. I said he's not a union thug. He calls me a right-wing, conservative Republican. We both got reelected. I think we did real well. But John's fun to work with because we know how to work together. So we're able to take 1 + 1 and make it 3, or take oil and water and make it work.
That's how it should be.
The board's doing well. Dr. Wagner's doing well.
And you're doing well, most importantly.
Yeah, and I think that we're off on a new year, and I think things are exciting.
So glad you're here.
Good to see you.
He is Joe
Happy
Brady.
New Year.
You bet. He is a trustee with the Victor Valley Community College District. I'm Brad Pomerance, Charter Local Edition.